Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. I am your host, Joe, with Coinigy here, joined by the wonderful Mr. Brian Beamish from therationalinvestor.com. How are we doing tonight, Brian?
Always better when I hear your voice.
Love it.
So
Likewise,
there you
likewise.
go. You're about to get all turkeyed up, if I
That
understand
is the
correctly.
plan. My girlfriend is prepping for Thanksgiving as we speak. Got a busy day with her family tomorrow, so getting some of the cooking done tonight. It smells delicious, so really looking forward to it. Gonna make our way out towards Mount Hood in the morning.
Well,
So yes, it is. It's gonna be a good one. But
and then
then
what happens on Friday? Are you
that's what
actually
I was just
expected
gonna
to?
say. What's the day after Thanksgiving mean? It is Black Friday. So
Oh, well, that's an
in
interesting
well,
segue. Yeah, go. All right, go for it.
I thought that's what you were going. Well, Black Friday is on this week. We do have our promo running already. So if you want to take 60% off your Coinigy subscription, use the promo code Black Friday 2023, all caps locks, all one word. Head over to our blog if you've got any questions on how to set that up. It is available this week for annual subscriptions. So head on over there, and then yes, you can find the tweet there. It's on our Twitter. It's got all of the instructions with the code right on there. And then our friends over at TRI are also having some fun on Friday too. Want to let us know about your guys' deal you got going on there, Brian?
Sure. Actually, I kind of did this all on the same tweet, so you can get like a little bit more information just from this image. I don't think there's a promo code. We probably should have done something like that for the Coinigy show. So that's probably pretty wise thinking on your part. I might ask Josh whether we should throw a code or something in here. But we have been asked by a number of people if we have any Black Friday offers. And we're giving a pretty nice discount to the Pro Traders dashboard tool belt, if you will, at TRI. There's a whole bunch of fun tools you can learn about in there in that package. And I think actually I've even talked to you a little bit about some of the screener results, and probably it'll come into the conversation tonight about what we're seeing over on the engine. So not only you'll see it through the evening, but if you want to learn more about the different packages or the tools on the dashboard, feel free to check that out. And actually, what I think is a smarter idea, although it's not nearly as sexy, mind you. Well, I don't know. I think there's actually a lot of people. I'm going to take that back. There's a lot of people actually really enjoy the school program and really learning both the history of the markets and how to effectively build and run a trading plan. Point here is I actually think before you are ready to subscribe to our Pro Trader Tool Belt package, dashboard kind of idea, I think you really should know how to run a small business of trading. So we do have a school, and actually we've been teaching the school now for almost 10 years. Can't believe I think actually 2024 will be our official 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I remember I first got interested in crypto through the Mount Gox run up, which was just about that's what it was 9 years ago. Eh?
It's funny.
So
Yeah. I mean,
in Black Friday kind of fashion, we also have a really nice discount on the school program, which frankly speaking, I think is ridiculously underpriced anyway. But what the hell, we'll throw you a bone and also give you a little discount on the school program. And really, I haven't seen, you can go to like top notch, even university programs. I mean, I've had people on the site in the past like compare our programs to what universities offer, sort of their sort of learn how to invest, right? Programs, kind of stuff.
A
It
lot
really,
cheaper than my MBA program, I'll tell you that much.
well, I mean, what I want to do is teach you how to run a small business of trading with the expectation of actually turning a profit.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think there's enough people in this world that actually really drive home how important that part of the equation is. And so, like all of this sort of supports mechanisms, all of this sort of risk modeling, and sort of trying to identify who you are and what type of risk taker you are and stuff. I don't see a lot of educational programs juxtapose that with the fact that I have 35 years market experience. I actually fancy myself a student of the market and like a historian. I love studying history and learning about ironically enough, I actually did you know, actually, this is kind of an interesting trivia piece about me. Did you
Let's
know
hear it.
that me and my family actually has a direct connection to your national anthem?
No.
Isn't that
Tell me
funny?
that. How so?
So I don't know whether we want to take a minute and tell the story, but maybe one day over a beer,
Yeah,
you can ask me. But
I
that's
will.
what I love about history, is that like my family actually has a direct connection to and the rockets red glare with bombs bursting in air. That was my great great grandfather bombing the city of Baltimore.
Geez. More you know.
Isn't that funny?
Small, yeah, that is
So
cool.
anyway, the point being that we've been teaching this education program for 9 years. You can of course learn more about the program on our site. And actually, I just have to say the site that the styling of the site, the team's been working very very hard to make it look like 21st century product, and I think they've done a very very good job. And of course, all of our students speak very highly of our education program. So there's my shill for you for
Beautiful.
a Wednesday. Is it Black Friday Eve? Not yet, eh? I guess Black
No, that
Friday
is tomorrow.
Eve.
It's Thanksgiving Eve, if you will.
Right. So there you go. And the funny thing is I went to lunch with a bunch of TRIers today, and we were all like, is it actually anything in Canada tomorrow, or is it just another working day?
Or is it a Thursday?
It's just it's just another Thursday tomorrow for us Canucks. So,
Well, come on
uh,
down to Oregon. You've got a seat at our table, Brian.
oh, you're a sweetheart. Actually, did you hear there was an incident at the Canadian-U.S. border, and
Unfortunately, I did hear about that. It's
yeah, and
heartbreaking to
so
hear.
one of our gentlemen that had lunch with us today, he actually came up from Washington State, and he kind of tongue in cheek. He was questioning whether he's going to be able to get back over the border after all that. And so
Yeah,
hopefully he made it back home in one piece.
yeah, yeah. That is crazy. I did catch that briefly on the news earlier.
From what I understand, it turns out that it was maybe a little bit, how would you say, uh, embellished story slightly.
Gotcha.
Turns out that the car just actually caught fire. It wasn't a terrorist, and didn't really have anything to do with any extremists or anything. Just the car just caught fire.
Gotcha. Yeah, all I saw was headlines there, so it's
Oh
always good to
yeah,
know.
well the media, and I think like Fox, they went crazy, right? And ironically enough, I wouldn't even be surprised if a certain orange-haired gentleman happens to come back into power. My dear leader and Mr. Orange Toupee might have further words. I don't know whether you remember, but they didn't have a very good working relationship in the
No, they did
past.
not. That's
So,
crazy times.
yeah, tell me about it, eh?
Speaking of also some crazy times, you had mentioned Mount Gox earlier, and
Yeah.
recent news, some exchanges been hitting, going down. I mean, Bittrex officially announced that they are closing all businesses. So they tried to flee, go global, but they announced, I think, what is that, Monday or something. They
Mm.
announced that they are officially, as of December 4th, I think, they are closing all doors, business wise. And then Kraken, I know, just got hit with the SEC charges for operating as an unregistered securities exchange broker and dealer. And then obviously the news that came out yesterday about CZ stepping down um, from Binance, and that he agreed to resign and pleads guilty or something
Well,
along
that
those.
was the shocking thing was
Yeah,
that he actually
4.3 billion to
I
guilty of
mean
charge and paying the fine.
something very bizarre has transpired over the past, is I don't know, maybe month or two. It's a very interesting change in the market tone, eh?
Yeah, it
So,
has. And then, I mean, when all the FTX stuff first hit the fan, they signed, Binance said they were stepping in to save it. And then they signed that non-binding agreement and
well,
turned,
yeah, I think I remember that specifically. CZ went in and looked at the books and went, "Oh, wow,
no,
no way
thank
I'm
you.
touching this."
He said, no. Yeah, no, I'm good. I washed my hands from that. No, we got Julian
So, I mean,
in
the
here.
interesting thing with CZ is that there are, we talked about this before we got the video going here tonight. There are people within the space that I actually respect immensely that have been very, very critical of him, and he done quite a bit of behavior very similar to SBF. And there was even talk that they had like secret chat rooms and stuff like that that they would sort of plot the demise of people and stuff. So and you know I, something's going on here, which I find fascinating. The fact that Trex would just turn belly up like that so quickly and so violently. And you saw like the Trex names. Like I had this, on my YouTube or whatever the hell we're supposed to call it, the X platform. I have a funny little NFT on my logo, which is a Ubik NFT. And
Every
Ubik,
guy in
like
here
literally,
purple.
pretty much was only listed on Trex, and then they also have their sort of DeFi presence. Um, and names like that got absolutely destroyed in an instant on that news about Trex. So something very quick and very violent happened. I'm not quite sure what. And then like CZ actually, and I obviously he's worth a substantial amount of money um, to be able to just brush off a $4 billion settlement. Holy moly. How
Yeah,
much
you
money is
got
that guy
something in the
sitting
bank.
on? So clearly, this is like tectonic. Something happened. I'm not quite sure what. And sadly, unfortunately, us in the public, we don't often hear about this stuff until after the fact. I do find it interesting that this is now happening actually at a very appropriate technical level because I did those three different tutorials for you,
Yeah,
and all of them suggested
where
that
we're at
price
now.
needed to get up into this very specific level. Which to be perfectly honest with you, anybody watching this video, I mean, that's kind of shocking how I did all three of those videos. All of them had very specific price objectives. Here we are, basically, we've hit all of those objectives, and now we're starting to get just this massive amount of FUD being injected into the marketplace. Very, very suspicious.
Yeah,
Or, well, it's not an accident that negativity is coming out exactly where technically it's supposed to.
yeah, we got Drew saying that BlackRock's making sure there's zero competition, and then Julian saying Wall Street's taking over, BlackRock's clearing the house, so it makes more sense for old crypto dogs to walk away than to fight against basically governments. It's going to be interesting couple of months here. Of seems like some of the BlackRock's really starting to their ETF plans are really starting to roll.
Well,
So
also too, I think there is definitely an argument to be made that for crypto to take the next serious step in sort of the American capitalist story, things like people like their Fidelity and stuff getting involved and all that, it probably has to like mature into the next stage, which unfortunately means that, you're going to have massive legal teams and probably you're gonna have to lobby, have like actually like a crypto lobby in the U.S. Congress, and it's just going to become part of the fabric of the capitalist machine, if you will. So I think both Julian and Drew make absolutely perfect sense and comments that. Like you have to get people like Elizabeth Warren on side. And I don't think, especially after the FTX debacle, and like I said, I think you could make a lot of connections with SBF and CZ. And I've told you before that I really like the work of this guy Tyler over at Crypto Chico. I don't know if you've ever
yeah,
watched any of his videos.
I have.
And oh my goodness. I mean, you listen to him about the comments about CZ, and which is a little scary because I think he makes a lot of sort of connections with that and Tether. Um, maybe the writing's on the walls. Maybe not be so in love with Tether, all you crypto enthusiasts. And then, you could make the argument that certain stable coins have been deemed appropriate and deemed acceptable by the powers that be in the United States, and Tether is not part of that camp. So, as I said, I think Drew and Julian both make perfectly valid points. And if anything, maybe now we're in the evolutionary phase where crypto now can have things like spot ETFs going forward. And really, I mean, we're heading into a growth cycle. My hunch is that, if Wall Street sinks its teeth into it, and, it sounds like Mr. Fink has you are going to hear the crypto shill so hard here over the next 5, 10 years. By the end of it, crypto is going to be basically a household name. Um, so, anyway, that's my 2 cents, whatever
Yeah,
it's worth.
be interesting. So only time will tell.
I
So
just find it fascinating that we're at a level, and of course, we could probably look at it on the price charts where, as I said, Mr. Beamish actually did videos up a year ago where all of
yeah,
the
coming
studies
up
said,
on.
price really ought to go to this area. And here we are with, just a massive head of steam behind us. And everybody, oh, we're all going to get rich from crypto. We're all going to get rich from crypto. And now all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Like, wow, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And also too, it's like basically the 1 year anniversary of the FTX blow up, right? I think it's
Oh,
about
just
exactly.
about to the day, actually. I want to say it was like the 11th or something.
Well, and
Was
so that's like
first week of
WD Gann.
November.
So WD Gann would say that these things move in cycles, and he loved following 1 year cycles. And I've often seen that markets will go like in a bull run exactly 1 year to the date. It's freaky. So
I
anyway,
mean,
that's
the
another thing.
last bull run really was taken off in November of the previous year in 2021. That was when we were starting to really pick
Well,
up
suppose we
speed.
can.
I guess let's take a look at the chart
Proof of the
and
pudding's in the eating, right? Might as well look at
yes,
the price chart. Let's see what you're
yeah,
talking
let's
about.
see where we're at. Bitcoin.
Do, 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 do. And I'd still love to get that. Oh, I heard that you said you got like a little practice account or a dummy account up with like
Yeah,
500 bucks.
yeah, I got some money in there,
Jeez,
and
I bet you wish you had bought some of that link, eh?
yeah,
Jeez, we're
there's
talking
a,
along about
there's a
that.
little in there, but not got
um,
the money going.
Actually,
But
oh, look, there's link on the screen right now. See, and
yeah,
you know, the sad part about it is who do you think's going to come in and buy link all the way up here? You think it's going to be the
suckers,
professionals or do you think it's going to be the public?
the public.
All right. And that's the sad part about this game. And I was barking it to the site today and I've been saying it repeatedly over the past week or so. Two words. Where's Adam? Adam knows the two words that I'm going to come out of my mouth. Well, there, didn't you say Adam was with us here tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam started us out with the Hey Crypto crew.
All right. And looks like Julian found a laptop too. Cool. Awesome. All right.
Wahoo!
So, two words. First word start with the D. There you go. Oh, thank you, Constantine. There you go.
Chase.
He helped answer
Oh
the trivia
yes.
question. First trivia question for tonight. All right. What are you saying about? You're saying about Bitcoin. Bitcoin topped out on almost exactly 1 year.
You gotta do the
Mm.
slash.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right here.
We
Boosh.
ought to add something that. There we go. Bitstamp.
Stamperoni. I think this chart's got a whole bunch of stuff written up on it. I should just
Yeah.
maybe just get a clear chart. Actually, interesting. And actually, I do see this happen often, where you get these paths, and then they literally notice here we went from here to here, but in this case we went from here to here, almost like exact opposites. So anyway, that's sort of a funny observation. Okay, so you said that, and really, like I said, this is just about. Actually, be interesting. When was the date of this bottom? Yeah, look at that, November 21st. So, where is November 16th, 20th, 21st? Right there. So, I don't know whether that's a top or
Yeah.
not, but that WD Gann would love that. And if anything, this is absolutely perfectly down his alley, where he would just simply say 1 year from pivot high to pivot low. We probably should do. And you tell me, what would WD Gann here say?
It would be the first stop target, and then 50% rule is hit WD Gand.
All right. So that would be 28,781. That kind of makes sense too, because I like the idea of them revisiting these lows in some sort of panic just to see if they can flush out some weak hands,
Bring it.
margin calls, stop runs, that kind of stuff.
Well,
Anyway,
let's go
so
back to the previous November. I'm curious in 2021. That was
yeah, actually, that might have been a peak, you know. November, that was November 10th. Yeah, pretty damn close, eh? And you could argue that that's the 10th right there. So that yeah, fascinating. So if anything, this is perfect, right? This is exactly what I'm trying to teach you. So notice, you know, this 1 year range. Actually,
mhm.
50% level looks like we could still move just a little bit higher here, right? Isn't that interesting?
The 42. That's honestly, I think I'm pretty sure you had like 40, 42 in those videos, which is
Well, what I said, and this is what I think is happening here, is quite often markets rally up into this 38.2 to 50% window.
that first
So, like
stop
that,
target.
anywhere in that area is a perfectly acceptable target zone for me. So, and if I'm, you know, remember, if we're talking fibs and fib retracements, technically 50% is not a fib. It's attributable to WD Gann, whereas 38.2 is. So when I did that fib retracement, I probably was concentrating on that 38.2. But actually, just to show you those three reasons. Um, the fib retracement, you know, we like to call this the call-in dump chaser zone. In fact, I
Yep.
even put a tweet about it out the other day.
I saw
Um,
that one.
in the education program, I like to call this the first stop targets because sometimes if this actually is a bear and the audience does not want to hear this, But if this is actually still a bear, we might actually even go and top out there and have to come all the way back down, which is that happens a lot in capitalism. It just does. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you then say, well, no, this bull market's young and it's just getting started, which is unfortunately what probably the public shill is going to be.
Hmm.
And that I think is actually, you're asking for trouble coming in here and getting all bullish at this level here. This is actually where we need to see whether this thing actually is a bull. And how do you think I'm going to say that, yes, indeed, this thing is still a bull?
You see a confirmed W and
Perfect.
divergence.
Up. That's all you got to say.
Just W.
If I see something like that, then I'm like, all right, this thing's still a bull. Rock and roll. And I mean, ideally, for the trade setup that I teach in the education program, I'd actually like to see two W's, like three higher lows. When I see that, oh my goodness, I get uber bullish. So that's exactly what I need to see here for me to actually believe that this is still a bull. So we're gonna have to do some consolidating. And like I said, isn't that fortuitous that literally right at that area where I would say there's going to be a fight, in comes all this, SEC is going to settle with lawsuits, Trex is going to blow up.
Yeah.
I'm surprised actually Sam Bankman-Fried hasn't been dragged out and sort of publicly humiliated or something. I mean, they got to do anything and everything they possibly can to stop the bull here because I would even imagine, and we were talking about this at our fun little meeting I was at this afternoon, and this, I mean, the irony of it all is what I teach is actually what institutions do. So you tell me in three letters, first letter starts with an R, first word starts with an R. I won't give you any more hints. Where do you think institutional people are going to want to buy Bitcoins if they want to buy Bitcoins?
Reload zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, the irony of it all is that I think some people actually think that I make this shit up, but this is basically what institutional does do.
What they want.
So, I mean, we go 61.8 to 78.6, and we'll have to flip it around because it's backwards. And you can see exactly where institutions are willing to buy. And oh, what a big surprise. If they're buying Mountain Man, then really all they're doing is they're just buying the W. Can you see that W?
Yep.
So, I mean, technically, that is. Remember, I'd said earlier, I do like the idea of us revisiting these lows, right?
Yeah.
So, somewhere down in there, that's 24, and really 25,000. That's a big, fat, round number, and that's basically what these lows are. So, that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen here. But, what I will definitely say to everybody is I don't like getting into the business of making predictions. And I don't think it's actually in anybody's best interest to get into that business because, no one's ever right 100% of the time. And when you're wrong, that's the one time. In fact, weren't we talking about that earlier? I said, what was that? We were literally talking about this earlier, but it might have been with the gang this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Where the one time where you stick your neck out, right, and you say, I think this is going to happen, and something exact opposite happens. And, oh, yeah, that's right. So one of the guys at lunch was talking about Solana, and people were picking on him when Solana went down to like single digits. And he
It's
said
up
when
there.
they started picking on him at single digits, he actually decided to go buy more. So
Double down. Now
congratulations,
he's
Nick.
what, 10x?
Yeah, I think it's about 50, $60 now.
Yeah.
So anyway, so just as we're coming up into 50, believe it or not, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do have to get up into that 50% level. But I don't know. Maybe we could use a bit of a pullback here and then another push up. I don't know. Maybe something like that. I was also showing, where was it? There was another chart that I had today that I was showing the audience where, oh, you know what it was? And this is kind of neat. Check this out. Do we have time? Am I allowed to
Yes,
do
sir.
this, or should we just jump right into
Oh, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Okay, so Litecoin, it just went through its halvening, right?
Yeah.
So,
You have to
could it
click
be
on all.
possible?
No, you're good. You just have to click on the all tab.
Yeah, we probably haven't looked at it before. Eh?
Yeah.
Could it be possible that Litecoin, and I like to look at it on Stamp. I'm an old timer. I don't even see Stamp on here. Maybe it's
Scroll
not
down
listed
maybe.
versus Tether on Stamp. Uh, um, could it be possible that we might see a replication of Stamp's behavior into and through its halvening on the Bitcoin price? Is it realistic that maybe they might actually look similar? So here is what Litecoin's done. And interesting, look at following the halvening event. Look how we've just absolutely puked right out. We came actually pretty much right back down to the original bottom.
Yeah.
So, for
Couple bucks away.
fun, why don't we take the bar pattern tool and let's just put it right over this whole price action. And we know that Bitcoin's halvening is coming up in the spring, right?
Yes, sir.
So we already know there's Litecoin. It's done its halvening. And the dump following the halvening took it from basically, I mean, you could even do like a fib here, right? I think that's a high. Maybe that's a bit too high. Let's get rid of that. Actually, here, you know what we want to do? Let's go copy. And then we'll delete that. Like that. There. So we just did a little fib here from the high back down to the low. And remember I said, like with Bitcoin, do I want to maybe buy reload zones?
Absolutely.
So, there's our reload zone. And look how it just backed up
It's just
so
right in
nicely.
there.
And look at that beautiful W. Like, damn. I mean, Joe, this is what I'm trying to teach you. Like you said, you had a little dummy account that you had set
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
So, if we wanted to take appropriate risk management, are you okay disclosing to the public how much you threw into that account?
There is 290 bucks in it right now.
290. And why don't we mark that as that's what you funded this account with,
Yeah.
right? All right. So based
Uh,
on our rules, how much money can we throw at a name, and if we buy it, it can go to zero, and it won't make a difference to us.
5%.
All right. So what is that of two hundred and
Let's
ninety
just say
dollars?
300 for explanation purposes. I think because that's what I put in 300, says 287 just, but it's how Coinigy calculates the portfolio is a 3-day rolling moving average.
Yeah, Coinigy calculates your portfolio by knocking 5% off of the
Yeah.
value.
Let's see here. But I may have had
That
some.
way, hey, you don't have over expectations, and then when you get your money out, you actually get more. So, hey, what a
Yeah.
treat!
Let's go times 0.05. Yeah, 15 bucks.
All right. Well, I would
Yeah.
prefer. I mean, you either top it up so it is exactly
Yeah.
300,
Yeah.
or we actually use 290, because actually 290 would probably be a lot more believable if like 5 years from now we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, the point here is, do you notice that look how price is right at this W level?
Yeah.
And do you notice we are right in this reload zone? To me, that actually looks extremely buyable right there. I don't have a problem buying that one bit. So, I mean, if you want to do a demo
Let's see.
trade
LTC
um,
to
as
BTC.
as a first experiment, and the good part about this is you know exactly how much you can put into this without even having to worry. If it breaks down and it looks like crap, we can always just sit on it, and if it comes back up here, we can blow it out or we can keep it, but you don't have to worry about breaking any risk rules. So my suggestion is, and I mean that chart just looks so beautiful. I can't believe how
Yeah.
beautiful that looks. I'm actually quite surprised, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
this happens to be on Stamp. I don't know where you have
I've got
your.
mine on Coinbase, just regular Coinbase.
All
And
right.
some,
Well, see if you can. And where are you? You're Discord. You're over here, right?
yeah.
So, see if you can replicate this chart, and see if you can show me exactly where it is you would buy. Interesting. I copied this, and I pasted it in the chat and it said horizontal line.
It says Brian Beamish is typing.
That's funny. Oh yeah, look at that. Did it again. Horizontal ray. Isn't that weird? So it won't okay, let's show you how to do it. We'll go like that. This should be the image.
There we go.
Hey, there we
Yes.
go. Yeah, see if you can replicate that. I mean, you can already see sell halves on doubles. So,
Yeah.
and what would we call this then? And really, it's exactly what this term is. Do you see how somebody would have bought this,
Yeah.
sold a half on a double, and now they want to put the position back on,
And
so
you
they are
rebought
now
in the reload zone.
reloading. Do you see how this works?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that
Yeah.
cool?
Send me that link,
All
please.
right, so yeah, there is the chart link. But what I'd like to see is see if you can build this chart, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
see if you can identify trade location. Obviously, we have price structure. It'd be interesting to see whether we have a bull div here or not in momentum. Let's see. Survey says, oh yeah, not bad. Oh, RSI, wicked div there. Is that a lower low? I can't tell.
I was just
Oh.
looking Litecoin to Bitcoin there because I do have most of that money in Bitcoin. I do have some of it in Link.
Well, what I would suggest you do is you always play from a stable base.
Okay.
So if you can't put it in U.S. dollars, there's a debate about what the stability of the U.S.
Yeah.
dollar. Not going to touch that conversation today.
Yeah, that's
But
for another time, my
for
friend.
traders' perspective, you always want to put your dry powder in cash. If you have it in Bitcoin, like I said, based on 50% rules, we could very easily see Bitcoin either $5,000 or $10,000 higher, or $5,000 or $10,000 lower here.
Hmm.
So, considering that, that would probably have a material impact on your capital base. I don't think it's in your best interest to keep it just in Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Now, like you have a bit of it in your in that link trade.
Yeah,
So,
so I do have because I wasn't risking more than the 5%. So the current portfolio has basically two and a half link, but bought those when we hit those previous price levels.
like $8.50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if anything, maybe, and can we display this anyway on the Coinigy website? Is there like a
Yeah.
portfolio function or something like that?
Not a sharing portfolio, but maybe we can start like a thread or like a blog post where we're kind of updating it after each show. I think
Good. Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's some nice homework for you after the fact.
Yes, sir.
I think it would be
Make
great.
note.
And thank you very much for, actually taking the time and effort to build the actual account and fund it, because now you will have direct experience. You'll actually have some skin in the game. And then as you watch this develop, your subconscious will actually start believing. And once your subconscious believes, then you're set for the rest of your life.
Yes,
So,
sir.
anyway, point of the matter here is we have trade location, indicator confirmation. I mean, it's not bad. We're getting W's. I mean, nice W's in the RSI, W through 50 line. I think I've talked to you about that before.
Mhm.
Looks like Willie maybe got stupidly oversold here. So, I don't really mind if you wanted to do, as one example, take 1/20th of your stake and throw it in some Litecoin here, and let's see what happens. I actually think that's a half decent trade idea, believe it or not. All right, so what I wanted to show you, and I think I did this, but let's see what happens. So I took a copy of this price action, and then what really is, I did this with the TRI peeps today, and it was really interesting in that if you overlay it on top of the Bitcoin price action, get a lot of similarities. And notice this last little spike up here. I think
Mhm.
that's where we tag that 50% level that we talked about. We have not hit yet on the Bitcoin price, eh? So there's that 50% level, right? There's our bottom. I guess we'll like wait for the data to come in. Um, and then we have this. Hopefully, this is the Litecoin data still saved. Did I save it? See text and image copy of the clipboard. Allow. Are you gonna work? Are you gonna work? We can always reload the Litecoin chart and do it again. Yeah, let's try again. LTC USD. Oof. Anyway, you can kind of see it already that this looks a hell of a lot like the way Litecoin rallied over the past year or so. I think the similarities are quite startling. Of course, I have to see whether this can load. Sometimes I just tax this thing
We,
too hard,
we
eh?
got some people in the chat saying, yeah, Adam saying, look at algo price action in the summer of 2020, and it looks like what alts are doing now. Uh, Dana says, anyone talking about Bittrex? Old school exchanges going by. Yes, they are. We did touch on that well earlier on in the show. RIP and Saranara Bittrex. They're shutting down shop at as of I believe it's December 4th, which
I wonder though if because like same thing with CZ. I don't
yeah,
think there's anything actually stopping either Bitterex Bill or CZ from just going and starting up a new exchange.
yeah. I moved. I got all my money, previous money off of Bittrex, like when they announced the stuff in the U.S. And then I did pull my money off of Kraken as well once I saw some of their stuff with SEC, just where.
You know, like what's going on with Kraken, eh? Kraken
Well, just
actually is headquartered in San Francisco, aren't they?
yeah, I just saw that they were charged for operating as an unregistered securities exchange broker and dealer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had most of my stuff on Coinbase now, which I'd like to have it on some more just because there's more options on some other exchanges. But where we're at right now, we are operating on Coinbase. And I still have a KuCoin, but I think they're starting to shut off US users as well.
Yeah. It's
A
a
lot of
little
them are. So that's why I
disappointing
felt
what
like sticking with one or moving it over to one that's got a lot on. But then you're kind of limiting yourself what Coinigy is great at is when you have multiple exchanges.
Okay, so let's see whether we can copy this now.
Omar says, hello, listening from a shooting range in San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Omar. We're thankful for everyone who tunes into this show and likes to hear us rant for a couple hours. We are forever
I
grateful.
don't
And
think you rant. You're too nice.
I
Brian.
enjoy it. I enjoy people that like to hear me talk because I like to talk. But
Okay.
I also like to listen. So I'm learning and I know what I don't know, and that's trading, and that's why I'm here. And thankful for you, Brian. We're slowly but surely showing me the ropes here. I've been doing this for a couple months now, and I do feel like I've learned so much from you. So it's
Well,
been
that's
awesome.
good.
I'm excited to
Let's
put
see
into
whether I
action.
can get
I don't
this
know what's going on with
this
Coinigy here.
study.
It
Yeah, it's a bit
says
and I
that the connection's green, so I'm not exactly sure.
might just be sometimes a tab sort of like freezes up kind of idea. You guys always want me to do this two FA thing. It's just I
Well,
don't
we want your account to be safe, Brian. We don't want people
I don't know. You're
take
sweetheart.
security very seriously at Coinigy. We want
Okay,
everyone's
let's
monies
see if
to
I can
be
do
safe.
this now. Survey says, boom. Did it work? Okay, let's go like that and like that.
Hey,
So what I was thinking was we are right now something like right there. So I do, we know that the halvening event is coming up here shortly. And we know
April.
that price usually likes to peak about a month or so ahead of the halvening, maybe a few
Okay.
weeks. So that would be over. When is it? I think it's like April or something, right?
Yeah, it's April 20, like 18th, I want to say.
Oh, yeah, there
April
it is there.
22nd.
Yeah. So I think that means that, and maybe, yeah, something like that. So let's see if we can stretch that out. Hmm. Maybe that means that we're actually in this phase right now. So this is your move. Because usually the market likes to top out about, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe 3 or 4 weeks or so ahead of that having a, that's exactly what happened on that Litecoin. I don't know whether I can show you that or not. Can I go back here? I don't want to screw things up. All right, anyway. Yeah, so you can see there's the halvening event and there's the Litecoin peak. That was about a month ahead of the fact. So I wonder whether we got to do something like this into that halvening event, which means that you can kind of overlay price action, you get kind of a similar feel. In fact, actually, no. All right, this actually is making more sense now. So let's go there, there. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Something along. Oh, wait a minute. Happening event is there. Ah, there we go. So I kind of like this kind of thinking that your Litecoin bottomed in this area. Of course, this is a little bit difficult to work with, but anyway, we'll make do. Um, we had sort of initial bumps ups. I kind of think that we're in this phase right now, this part right here. I think this actually lines up with what we're doing right now. Something along those lines. I like that. Um, and uh, and we're actually in a range now that's going to sit and drive everybody crazy. Remember, I said earlier on the Bitcoin chart, I do like the idea of them coming back and revisiting these lows.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually like the idea in the near term, and this is what I thought was really neat, was that kind of like exactly how Litecoin did this. Ran up, created a trading range, then one more final push here. And I think that final push is what takes us up into that 50% level that we talked about earlier. That level there. So
Yeah.
this here right now is 38.2. And of course, like we said, we're supposed to watch for 3 higher lows to set up maybe a trend continuation pattern. But that means that really at any given point in time, we really should be thinking about a 38.2 retracement to the downside. Remember, we talked about a 50% level to the downside there as sort of like your risk. I think you could also draw that 38.2 to the downside. Yeah. So, in a weird sort of way, we had all that FUD and all that uncertainty all of a sudden hit the market here, right at an area where I think it's supposed to happen 38.2s. And then, like I said, inverted head and shoulders, which we haven't drawn here, but that was another tutorial I did for you with the fib extensions. And then we also did the chaos theory, and that also came up with an 877 in this area. So lots of confluence, lots of reasons to think that maybe we stall out here. And then kind of like this Litecoin chart, and this is what really caught my attention, was number one, we could very easily see a nice chunky dump right
Uh-huh.
back into 38.2 to 50%. Actually, that should be the other way around. Like so, right? 38.2 to 50%. And then we go sideways for quite a while. And then there's one more push. And this should, I guess, come in somewhere around the end of March. And then we top out about a month or so ahead of the halvening event, because that's usually what happens.
Hmm.
So if there was going to be a roadmap that I would put on the screen right now, let's do this one. And I'll label this as LTC's halvening. Um, LTC, but 23 year price action into through its halvening event. So let's I think going forward I'd like to keep this on here, and this is what I did with the audience at TRI today. Because I was very curious to see how this the similarities here.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's sort of what I'm
Drew's
thinking right
asking,
now.
will the Bitcoin ETF change any of this? Hard to say.
Um, I could see that the my gut feeling is the launching of the ETF will actually mark a short-term bottom. Or I say, let's rephrase that, short-term top. Sorry about that. So bear with me. We can't look at like gold ETFs on Coinigy, right?
No.
Right. So if we look at the gold fund, and we look what happened when they launched
Look at
it.
that gap.
Pardon me?
There's a nice price gap recently on that.
Ah, good that you noticed that. I always like to hear that. But here is the first data that they had of the gold ETF. And notice, this is a weekly price chart. So they launched it. It went up for a couple weeks, and then like literally it puked out the other side. So could this actually, what I really like is I like that the ETF gets listed here. So the market lifts, it's in rally mode, and it's about a month or so ahead of the halvening event. And that sort of steals Bitcoin's final sort of thunderous roar. And then we have to do a serious correction right back down to the original bottom. So that's my answer of what I usually big ETF listings. And you remember the 1920 no, the 18 peak in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that
Um,
was
that happened on the CME listing Bitcoin futures.
yeah, that was like right shortly after I started at Coinigy there. I
Right. So that
started
was
like
right
right during
there.
that bull run.
And then sadly, and actually, I have heard a bunch of people say that they actually do like the idea of actually Bitcoin pulling back. I don't know whether it has this kind of pullback, but I definitely like this because this is basically what happened. And this is what I was thinking was going to happen this year. Um,
Yeah, I
but
remember that
this is,
drawing.
so there is the low. And, it might be interesting just to map this out. Was this 1 year from that low there to that high there? How long was that? That was
It's 6 months.
December to June. So that was only 6 months. That's interesting, eh? So 1 year was actually there to there. That's interesting. So in that previous cycle, the full year wasn't peak to trough, it was like trough to trough. And I actually think that they were getting ready to run the market up, and then the sickness jumped out of nowhere and caught the whole world off guard. And that's actually what that event right there is. I think this even took the 1% off guard. Because notice, look how pretty this bottom was here. Is this kind of some sort of letter of the alphabet that Beamish guy gets all excited about when he
That
sees?
Beamish guy really likes?
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
that's
say
kind of
so.
interesting, eh? So I get the impression that the 1% was actually like, okay, it's time to start ramping this thing up. Um, and the whole sickness was basically that. That was the whole sickness market. Eh? It's
Yeah, was it
fascinating,
like
eh?
that big red candlestick is, I think, peak as we're shutting stuff down.
This was all around when the Fed had to step in and save the money market because the money market went crazy.
Yeah.
And there was this politician who literally came out on this day and said that he was willing to sacrifice his life to save capitalism, which seemed a little irrational.
Yeah.
What was fascinating about this is you want to see something really cool. Um, Remember our venture cap reload zone concept? Do you remember that?
Yes, that's the 88.6
Right. So check this out. And we actually used to have a guy I used to do videos with
Mountain
who,
Man.
pardon me?
Is that the Mountain Man?
No, no, no.
Oh.
I used to trade against Mountain Man. I would,
Oh,
he would
oh
never do
Mountain
a
Man
video with me.
61.8.
Yeah, Mountain Man is 61.8. But his name was Kevin. And notice how, do you see this W bottom here? I mean, that's really the bottom in Bitcoin price, eh?
Uh-huh.
Notice how that's right at this 88.6?
Yeah.
And he had like a boss actually stepped in, stood in, and actually bought that level right there.
Good on
What
him.
a boss, eh?
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that people who do hang around with me, they end up actually, if they actually listen to half the crap that I'm barking out and do try and actually implement it, sometimes they can look like absolute trading gods. So that was a pretty cool. And if anything, I love seeing that because that's just like everything that we
Yeah.
teach. So anyway,
We got someone in the chat. Nikolay says, "What do you think about the ascending triangle forming on the daily?"
uh, ascending triangle, so like an ascending wedge. Kind of like what you see here, I think this I think actually really articulates exactly what I think about crypto right now. Is we've come a long way. Um, the I'm actually a little surprised at how bullish people have gotten, and if anything, when I start to see the guys start coming out on YouTube with the crypto bullish videos, and I mean, you remember
Pops in.
we were joking about it at lunch today. I mean, there was a couple characters there. They were like, they had like fucking like a million viewers and stuff on their YouTube pages and stuff. And they were raffling off Rolexes and stuff like that. I mean, it was just the most
like
perfect marketing shill.
like Ben
And,
Armstrong.
who?
Uh some guy who he's a influencer who's seen some turbulence lately.
Could be. That's the irony of it all, right? Is that
Bitcoin Ben or something.
the influencers like to keep the Ponzi going. Every new person that comes to your website and your social media feed, you have to be bullish, right?
Yeah.
You can't you can't be one of those guys and then one day say, well, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea to buy, because
They're
then the
shilling
whole
their
fucking
bag.
thing falls apart, right? And
Yeah, because they're
they move
shilling their
on
bag.
to some other clickbait. The only reason why they're clickbaiting is because somebody's going, get rich, buy now, get rich, right? And all that shit,
Mhm.
right? So anyway, to answer anybody's question, actually, I really like this Litecoin as a path. And I suppose if we just sort of, move that off the screen just for the time being, um, and just look at the price action. Of course, anybody that is a member of TRI knows what our internal algorithms are saying. They're not happy with crypto right now. And frankly speaking, looking at that chart, I mean, is Brian going to want to be buying an up market like that?
Ooh.
I mean,
Uh-uh.
I don't do that stuff. So
Don't
I think
chase.
clearly we had actually nice buy signals that come in off all of these W's. There was a huge algo signal that came in here. But recently the algo's just been chopping back and forth as we're just grinding away here.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose we have one low, two lows. If we put in a third low here, that's going to start looking bull flaggy. I don't know whether I would, what I would call this is, probably triangle is your right expression. It probably looks something along the lines of that there. So interesting enough, usually this resolves to the upside, but we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully you can see here, and Joel, you've been working with me long enough. We change this to a line chart. Can you see the market smiling at us? So
I
that's a
start
little dangerous. You don't really want to see the. What are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us?
gonna take all your money.
Right. So the smiles are there. Um, this is a chart off a stamp. I don't know whether the futures look exactly the same, but you can see, the smile is there. It's more of a
Yeah.
so swell. There we go. Which means that on a clothesline basis, that's a sell signal right there.
Yes,
And
sir.
you should have your stop just above that high. I would give this probably like a good, 60, 70% odds of working. I suppose the question would be, do we have bearish momentum divergence on these pushes to new highs? And then, does this smile disappear if we go back to the candles? So, actually, I think the smile's actually still there.
Yeah.
So, in fact, actually, because this market structure confirmed, we can actually draw a trend line now. This is actually an active trend line. So all we've done here, it looks like, is just rallied right back up to trendline resistance here, right? So does this magnet work?
Should.
Uh, strong magnet. Rawr.
Mm.
Strong like bull. Right, so
Strong
there
like bull.
and there. We went down. We confirmed the clothesline, but we did not confirm through that intraday low there. So at the very best, I would say that, yeah, on a clothesline basis, the smile is in place, but really, I like the idea that this is a ranging market right now. And my hunch is that if we do break down and go through here, there'll be plenty of opportunity on Wyckoff checks if you really do want to get short to short kind of whatever the bounce is. And really, this thing's not a bull again until we actually get on the other side of this trend line and W out over there. You might get, like I said, that Litecoin sort of forecast or some sort of crazy spike straight up and then straight down. If it is just a spike straight up through here, I would fully expect that we have to come back down and walk along this trend line. And as soon as the W is actually registered, then I can start getting bullish. So this is, I mean, at the very, like if we take the bullish perspective, it's a trading range, three higher lows, and then we can actually start talking about W's, and we can start talking trend continuation. Um, so probably just need a little bit more
Yeah.
time here to let this develop before I can really sort of see anything clearly one way or the other.
Baby
It
steps.
hasn't quite emmed out, and it doesn't have any W's working, letting me know. Remember I said earlier, because this was a 38.2 tag, which I think, yeah, there it is. There's the 38.2. What I really need to see is some sideways consolidation here. So I don't know. All right, so
Oh,
we spent about an hour
yeah.
talking about Bitcoin. Do we want to jump into the alts?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I know we had first one suggested to us was cake slash USDT.
All right,
Cake though.
CAKEUSDT. And where are we going to look at this one?
I would say Binance has the biggest. There's on the favorites tab there. You have to move over. I think it just keeps auto defaulting there, unfortunately. We'll have to talk to our developers. So let me see. Cake, yeah, it's got the highest 24-hour volume on Binance there.
A
Now this is
Binance.
this is
Boosh.
one that I have seen a good amount on Twitter recently, which makes me feel like almost a little weary. Where it's like with all
Well,
that's like
so do you now know the fundamental story backwards?
yes. So you have well, what it does. You need to know if it contributes something and if it's on a lower. Sorry, let me take a step back. So if it's on the bottom end of the trading range is something you're looking for, but then so you're not chasing, but then knowing the story behind the project as
Well,
well.
it's good rational analysis. It's
Yeah.
always a good idea to know what the fundamentals are. I mean, who's the primary person behind this story?
Um,
Like CZ is the primary person
uh,
behind Binance, right?
yeah.
SBF is the primary person behind FTX.
The
Um,
uh,
Buterin is the principal behind ETH.
says it's a group history. Pancake Swap was founded by a group of anonymous developers in September of 2020.
So this is Pancake Swap.
Yes.
Ah, and isn't Pancake Swap? I remember like there was Sushi Swap, right? So there was
Yep.
all the fish plays, and then there was like the pancakes. In fact, actually, I think Seward kind of likes this one. Something about panacooks.
Yeah. So it what made it different at the time of launch was that Pancake Swap was built on Binance's smart chain, which
Ah,
offers faster and cheaper transactions compared to Ethereum.
hmm.
Uh, and at the time of the launch, Ethereum was suffering from expensive and slow transactions as DeFi mainstream moment drove massive demand to for transactions.
I think
So
it still is, isn't
yeah,
it?
I don't know what's going
That's the
on
one
here.
thing that bums me out about Ethereum is it's just so damn expensive.
Yeah. It is. And it's funny. Something that I'll never forget was back in like college when I was first kind of getting into crypto, I bought Ethereum for $100 and then sold it for like 200 and I was just so pumped. But then stupid enough, I took that money out and I was in college, so it's probably just beer drinking money. But
Aren't you back
I
in college now?
I am now, but still working full time now. Before it was different.
The
Um,
MBAers, they're not so much beer drinkers, though, right?
you'd be surprised. They still get sodas after class. Uh,
All right. Well,
want to press refresh quick and see if that helps us out? I don't know. Not exactly sure. I'd like to see us try these in if we have the same issues in Google Chrome another time. It doesn't have to be this week, but because we'd have to log in and all. But I haven't had some of these issues that we face on this call. Maybe it's just because we're during doing a Zoom as well or something. But
let's see if I don't know whether I can be logged in on both or not.
you'd get logged out of
Would you
this
get?
one.
And then I have to do traffic lights. Hey, there we go. Something's happening. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't remember my password. What a silly boy. Chrome doesn't like my password over there. All right, well, let's keep banging away here. I was
Yeah.
gonna see if I could get that up on Chrome. Uh, okay, so and where are we gonna look at this versus Tether? Is that what you have?
Yes.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised with the way the SEC is acting with Kraken and what just happened with Binance. I wouldn't be surprised if
I
something's
sent you
coming
the
down the
link.
pike.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I sent you the link in Discord. I wonder if maybe you click on that. It could.
Discord cake. Hey, there we go. Do 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 do. Come on, Binance cake. There we go. All right, awesome.
Look at that volume.
Yeah, somebody's getting active. So the issue here is two words in my vocabulary that you probably know exactly what I would
Don't
say here.
chase.
Yeah. So, could I buy something that looks like that there? No, just can't.
I mean, hypothetically, you could, but you don't want to.
Yeah, it would probably give me fucking like nightmares.
Brian's just wakes up in the middle of the night,
Screaming,
cold sweats.
oh my god, I took my reloads. Interesting. Look at the 200 SMAs right against that 78.6 there.
Yeah.
So it's still pointing up. So I mean, if you there's no real structure here, and I noticed that like because I think
They
you're in
started
this
from a bottom.
cake. What's that?
Oh, because like this, it started from the bottom here. It
Yeah,
didn't
this
have like
like
a
literally
W.
was making new lows,
And that's what I'm
and
saying.
then
Like it was making new lows and then it
just
shot up.
turned straight up, right? And I hate when markets do that.
Yeah.
Because to me, what this means, kind of like how you see here, we went down and we went straight up. And then, maybe you can't see that. We'll zoom
I've
in.
I've got the chart up here and the RSI looks like it's just a straight line straight up. It has
Yeah.
been over
So
so far.
that's not really healthy to me. I don't like to see that.
Oh, I'm looking on the weekly issue now. Yeah.
Um, I'd also say too, do you notice here how just in the short term, we're making higher highs in price. Uh, like so.
Hmm.
Well, you get the idea. Like that. But is the buying enthusiasm as strong as it was? Like something's disconnected
No.
here. I mean, if this thing was so great here, why are there not just as many buyers here? So you can see, like, look, and you even pointed that out. Look at all this volume.
Volume speaks
But
volumes.
yes, the price is making higher highs, but the sort of enthusiasm for this story is falling away. That's not a good sign. Had you told me about this here, just as volume was breaking out, right? You can sort of see how volume is going down here. And then all of a sudden on this day here, you got this volume that just spiked up. And then the next day, as soon as volume broke through that high, oh boy, basically we're off to the races, right?
Yeah.
Whoops. I guess you can't see that. But do you see how we were like making lower highs in volume, and then all of a sudden this day here, it just smashed all these highs right there.
Yeah.
And then the next day we went absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So, if this I think I told you before. You said, you were going to build like screeners and stuff like this that would help sort of identify. If you can get volume like 2 days in a row, volume greater than say the 20 period SMA. I think you have like the 9 period SMA,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of trading houses they like to use like 20
Inputs,
period
maybe.
SMA for volume. Yeah, you can say there's 20 period there. So, I don't know why that's not showing. Maybe I
Because the
have,
smoothing length is 9. So it's on that, but
yeah.
this
I don't know why that's not showing though. Maybe I have to over here. Volume MA1. Let's go like, hey, there we go. Um, so you want to tell your bosses, right? You get volume days, especially this, where you have like two volume days in a row that are rising and it's above the 20 period SMA. Then you could
Mhm.
even do something like compare two moving averages, and I think that's what you guys have on here as well. So you can do like the smoothing, which is 9. So we want to make sure that the signal moving average is higher than the smoothing moving average. So you can see, might be hard to see this, but not that one. Let's go. We'll just put the volume away. There we go. So can you see how this, oh geez, that's awfully hard to see. Let's go maybe red. All right. So, this is the volume, right? So
Hmm.
notice how yellow is above red here. And if you see the volume bars themselves start to spike higher. Oops.
Yeah.
Right? And one green bar after another green bar, and you're breaking this high here. That is a
Hmm.
huge buy signal. So let's just, hypothetically, let's go see what did price actually do on that event. That was right there. So hopefully you can see on the price chart, right? That had you going long this breakout day. And really, you can also see it on the price chart too, right? Um, Actually, this could be good trivia for you. What would I call this type of pattern where you go uh, horizontal line, this big sort of dip,
Oh,
and
cup and
then
handle.
this little dip. Can you see that?
A little cup and handle.
Yeah. So can you see the cup and handle?
Yes, sir.
So the breakout through the lip of the cup, and that was that on that volume breakout day. That was just one of the biggest buy signals you ever see in your life. And I mean, you tell me, was it? Boom! Right? Because isn't that what everybody's looking for?
And
I
yeah,
buy
would have put it
here,
in
and then I can go
sold half
sell
on the
here and
double.
buy a Lambo.
I mean, ironically, if you look, so that's right around the 2.4, and that signal is right around 1.2. So some people pulled off some,
Yeah, what do you think the odds are? Somebody bought the lip breakout.
yeah,
In fact, you can even see what the number is. The number is 1.282. And this number here, 1.266. So if you just drew, in fact, like you probably do it on Coinigy,
yeah,
but I know there are some charting sites where um, you can actually just draw a trend line
yes,
from here to here, and you just put an alert. Please tell me when this price closes above this trend line. So, I mean, it's a bit cockeyed, but I think you get generally the
yeah,
idea. Um, and this little dip right here, how we went rallied up, then we pulled back, and then we consolidated, broke out, and probably a whole bunch of professional traders saw this, and hence this stampede of buyers. I don't think that's an accident. Probably whether it be I'm going to set an alert on this trend line, and if we close above that trend line, that's going to get me to all excited, or whether it be the volume breakout itself. I mean, it is interesting. Probably some people, I know Julian, for instance, they're watching. He likes to follow the RSI. I mean, you might have done something along those lines where this pullback and then the resolution above it, that's a breakout on RSI. It was getting a little bit expensive, Willy wise. We weren't quite stupid, but we went stupid pretty
it's
soon
towing the line.
thereafter. Let's see, where did we actually go stupid? Right. Oh, actually, we never did go stupid. Isn't that interesting? Oh, right there. That's where we went stupid when we were all the way up here. So, anyway, the point here is, if you can build those screeners where volume is making through new highs, oh boy, is that. I want to get Stewart programming that on the site. If he could somehow wrap his head around that, that would be
That'd
insanely
be amazing.
powerful. But hopefully you can see how this is actually a pretty good example of a cup and handle. So, all right. So, point is, if you're studying volume, volume speaks volumes. You can clearly see where the breakout was. I'm not exactly sure about momentum. This one's a tough one. I mean, you can see on the MACD, it looks like the momentum breakout was right there. So do you see how it went down, up, down, did not make uh, lower lows in MACD. Can you see that?
I do now. Yes, you zoomed in.
So we go like there to there. This event right here, what do it? In fact, actually, the level oneers just did this in our school program a week or so ago. Right here, this is where the bullish momentum divergence confirms.
Yes,
So if you get like any kind of structural signal following this event, you got pretty good trade location. I mean, is this down at the bottom end of its trading range? I think so.
I'd say so.
Uh, but this is probably a really good example where sometimes your market structure signals. Remember, we said this was a cup and handle. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that are like, well, I thought you said that a W was going to come in here and I buy W's. Well, sometimes a market structure can look like a cup and handle pattern. And it's not really the most agreeable and polite and pretty pattern. But if you fancy yourself a trader, and here I am, I'm a boss trader. You have to look at this, identify the fact that the bullish divergences come in, identify the fact that this thing's dirt cheap, identify the fact that somebody's fucking ramping up the volume here, and you have to basically accept the fact that if I'm going to trade this, it's probably going to be a cup and handle pattern, which means that I buy the breakout of the cup, right? Probably a move through that high there, and I risk to the bottom of just this little handle in here. So it's a trickier trade. It's not the easy. A cup and handle is kind of a tough cookie. You see how that's the handle right there,
Yeah,
that low there. So that's if you were saying, well, does that look like an M and W or W? The W is down, up, down,
oh,
breakout.
gotcha.
That's not a very pretty W, is it?
No.
So I would say that this is probably a little bit more advanced. What I would say now, and I wouldn't mind having some of this on the books for the coming bull. What I would say now, well, and you should be able to actually finish my sort of thinking thought here. If I wanted to buy now, what should I do?
Short it
No.
when it's high. I don't know.
Draw your reload
Oh,
zones.
reload zones. Yeah, I like that
So
better.
you can already see we already have it on here. And of course, Brian's favorite fib, 78.6. Notice how that actually corresponds nicely with the 200 period moving average. And interesting how a dip down into that area is going to basically take us right back down to the original cup and handle pattern.
Yeah.
So what I would prefer to see, and our resident stock picker on Tuesdays, our secret options formula guru, David, I think he would actually maybe even call this like a potential atom. And what we'd really like to see is the market come down and make an Eve over here, something like that. So
Uh-huh.
Adam and then Eve. You see that?
I do.
And in fact, what chart did we look at tonight that is doing exactly this?
Bitcoin
No.
or the Litecoin to USD.
Yeah. So, I don't know that we dare. See what happens. Maybe you have to give me the link. Hey, there it is. And I said, well, actually, I don't have a problem you going and buying this right now.
Uh-huh.
Because in essence, that's exactly what this is, right? Market puts in a bottom, rallies up, dips back down, and I think we even said that this was a reload zone. All right, if we go here, back to here, or something like that. There's Brian's favorite fib, 78.6, but I think this is just a basic one. So I don't even have to get overly fancy. So there's the reload zone, and there's the W in the reload zone. And so Actually, I might even call this like, well, maybe this is probably like Adam, and then we'd actually probably call that a Steve. Eve has a kind of a lumpy butt, but you could look at this, and actually, this might be interesting if David saw this. You might even look at that as a Eve and then another Eve here. But the point here is big rally, pull back into reload zones, and then market structure comes in. Actually, that would also be a Steve as well. This is just Steves everywhere. Steve, and Olga. I think we called them Adam and Olga, so the really sloppy looking bottoms. Anyway, so it is interesting that this is, and I think that Litecoin, interesting enough, is actually setting sort of what the path going forward is going to look like. And I wouldn't be surprised if this looks very, very similar to that. And in fact, you want to see something really cool, we can actually apply chaos theory, which is actually a video I did for the Coinigy people.
Which
All
just
right.
was shared on our social media. You should be able to find it in the last week. I think last Thursday I posted it. Uh,
Excellent. Still would like to know where on the website we can
Uh,
actually see those
we
videos.
so those we have our developers are working on getting those implemented. I do have a ticket on our back end to be implemented on
You got a
that.
ticket on your back end. Jeez, that
That
sounds.
sounds bad when you say it. Our back for yeah.
Well, are
You
you working that red light district again? Cops giving you tickets? All
no, but
right. So anyway, look how we did the chaos theory here, and look where 2.618 is.
right
Isn't
there.
that incredible? So it's cool when you see that. I love when I see that stuff.
All right. Well, we do have another request here. So,
What do you
uh,
think? Whoever asked for cake, do you think you got your money's worth? I don't know.
I would say so. Get the
Should
cake.
I take a screenshot of that or something? Should we
Yeah.
save that?
Send then if you could send that to me, I'll send that back to them on uh Twitter. So let's see. Drew says coin. Are you talking Coinbase? But let's look up XCH. So if you're saying for coin, because I know that's a ticker symbol for Coinbase, we can not do have we don't have stocks on Coinigy at this time. It's we're since we're owned by stock trading equities company Lightspeed. It's we can't chart, we can't have that. We're working with FINRA and stuff like that. You need to get approval to have the stock showing. So we are strictly crypto. We'd like to have that, but at the moment it's heavily regulated. So we're gonna go with XCH. Oh, and then we'll get to EGLD next too.
XCH.
XCH/USDT. This one's on the bottom end of a trading range, which is what I wanted to take a look at.
All right. And where do you
On
want to look at
these,
this?
Gate has, I mean, they're all pretty much have the same amount of data. Gate looks like they have a little more on a weekly chart.
All right.
Do, 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 do.
It's thinking. There it is. Yay. All right. I guess we could probably start with that weekly chart. So, boosh. Looks like it's probably going to be some sort of V bottom here. Interesting on the daily, it looks like a W. All right, well, sure is coming down an awful long way. Look at this. This was $1,900 at the beginning of its life. Wow.
Looks like
Yeah.
it's
You probably
still
have you ever heard
hitting
me talk about
lows.
saucer bottoms?
Yeah.
So you can kind of see how like this was like super duper steep. And then you can kind of see, really, I suppose you could just continue that. Then notice how things are starting to sort of flatten out. So you can kind of see that saucer bottom image sort of developing here.
Uh-huh.
And I can see how it's, I mean, it doesn't look
Still
great, but
hitting
it's
new lows.
trying. The problem here is we did just make a new all-time low here.
Yeah,
All-time, whatever, that means. I suppose you could argue there was a nice little inside bar there on that dump to new lows, which is probably somebody was like a motivated seller and they had to get out and they were just dumping everything. And as soon as that person was done, then there was almost like a vacuum. So the market just sits there and does nothing for a week because the seller's done. And then all it takes is somebody just to sneeze, and all of a sudden the price can pop right back up into moving average resistance. And I might even argue that, if you get like a 3 bar fractal fail, which would mean like if we finish this week here, then we trade through this low next week, then we're probably going to go right down and test those lows. Kind of like how you notice, like following this, there was a bit of a dead cat bounce. Then we roll back over and we test this, and then we put in a 3 bar bullish fractal here, and up we go. So you had that little 3 bar bullish fractal fire here. Then we're potentially putting in a bearish 3 bar fractal here. It hasn't quite fired yet. But as you can see on the weekly basis, the moving averages are still pointing down. So I don't think we've sort of like officially turned the corner yet. And this thing's still trying to figure out if it is actually bottoming yet.
gotcha.
So if we go down to the daily, like we said, that little bottom looks like a W. Boom, 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 boom. You could probably do Foggin bombs off of this bottom here. And what do you think the odds are? This is up around 2.618. Probably pretty
Pretty
good.
high.
No, actually, no, not quite.
Oh, getting there. Still a couple bucks
Let's
off
see.
there.
Yeah, good. Interesting. There's the 200 SMA. There might be one more gasp higher here, but yeah, kind of it. How do you describe this? Uh, Might be interesting to see what sort of the momentum picture and the volume picture suggest. But we still have some buying interest. See, the bulls have kind of backed away, but at the same time, too, the bears are not like overly active. Almost kind of look at like right now, this thing's in a trading range. So there's the top end of this old range here. So, and actually, this is a good example of that parking garage concept.
Yeah,
So this is one sort of level in the parking garage, department store, whatever the hell you want to call it.
yeah,
You can actually extend this line over time. You can kind of see how that's like a level, eh? So, the extensions module that I have in the education program. I did an extension study for you guys on the Bitcoin
yeah. It was
price.
that. So, as mentioned before, he had that chaos theory one. He did a three-part series:
Yeah.
extensions, retracements, and chaos theory. So you can find those all on our YouTube videos or on our YouTube channel. Got those videos uploaded there.
So I'd be curious if we're talking parking garage, what's the level that I'm most interested in here?
Um, have to find it in my notes. Parking garage. Well, parking garage is 1.618 to 2.
Yeah.
That's the bottom end of the
So
range because markets will stair step their way.
yeah. So all right. Well
That's why you
regurgitated.
always have your notebook out for these shows.
So can you see how this was sort of one level of the, you could call it the parking garage, you can call it the department store. I mean, you could call it your house. It really doesn't matter. You see how that's one level? And like
Yeah.
literally, all we got to do is just replicate this. So we'll go here and clone that. I think we can do that. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. There we go. Clone that, and you just plunk it right on top. And that's at 200%.
There we go.
And so look how 1.618 to 200%. Look how we keep stabbing up into that area. and sellers just seem to mysteriously come out and drive it back down.
Yeah.
And then you could argue off of the original breakout bottom, they stab the market down into that area, and buyers mysteriously come in and buy it back up. So, ironically enough, that's probably if somebody said, "Well, what do you think, sort of the state of this market?" And I would say, "Well, it kind of looks like a Missouri to me."
The
But
show me state, right?
hey, that's right. I used to have an old broker buddy of mine who was this. I always say, "Hey, I'm from the Show Me State," or
You
"I'm
asked me
from
that in the
Missouri."
past of what they call Missouri, and I didn't know, so I'm pretty pumped that I got that right away.
Yeah, very good, very good. So off of the bottom here, there's 2.618. Off of this parking garage kind of concept, well, there's 1.618 to 200%. Probably what would be kind of cool is if we looked at some previous peaks, see if this was like, say, especially off of this high here, is this like 38.2? I bet it is. So if we draw from here back up to here, and then we'll settings and
Oh,
38.2,
stop target.
and there's that right there. So kind of like when we were talking about Bitcoin and confluence of levels earlier, I would do the
Hmm.
same thing here, and I would say, there we go. Right, we could even add 50% just to be fun. Right, so I would say parking garage. It's playing with that right now.
Hmm.
2.618 Foggenbaum. If it can
Hmm.
actually, even just sit here and consolidate and then accept above that, next stop's all the way up at 4669. But probably, and you know this, where are these guys sleeping right now? These guys right
They're in the
here.
on the couch.
Yeah. So you can kind of see how we get up into a WD GAN 50% level, and these guys are going to get released. They're going to be like, oh, thank God. So right now, it's just a question of are these guys going to get released? And notice how they're up against that 38.2. So these 38.2 guys have not been released yet. They're still sitting there and they're praying to God. There's enough buyers. Oh, darn. There's enough buyers to come in to push price up into that level. There we go. So I think we're still sort of flirting. And interesting how 2.618 is right into those levels, eh?
Hmm.
So I would be really surprised if we could get up materially through this level in the near future. Now, I suppose the coup de grace all this is we did make a higher high here. So what's a sign that if we look at the indicators and they're in divergence, maybe that's a warning that the bull is running out of steam.
Yeah.
Whoa, wee. Do you see how the
Hmm.
MACD histogram?
Yeah.
Not even close to those old highs. And
Mm-mm.
look at RSI, Julian's favorite indicator. So you see how price made a new high here, but RSI did not make a new high. In fact, RSI even put in an M on this push up here. So this push right here is a divergence. So that's like a divergence within a divergence. Oh boy, that's really bad. And of course, interesting, Willie. Did Willie actually get stupid? Oh, came darn close.
Yeah, looks like it's touching right there.
Yeah, it's the blue line on this particular
Oh,
chart. Never did get below minus 20. Came close, minus 21 there. I mean, I would never like take a trade just on Willie. Obviously, I mean, how many reasons should we have to justify taking a trade? You know the answer to
three.
that, right? So, you might use Willie as well. But I mean, geez, that's an M. And in fact, actually, were we talking about Da Vinci earlier? Somebody I was talking about Da Vinci the
No,
other day.
but I was actually thinking about reaching out to him. earlier. I think we should try to get him on the one of these shows one of these weeks.
Okay.
And
Actually, the guys from Blockmates, I think I introduced you
yeah,
to them. They
we'll
were
have to
kind of
talk
interested
after. No, yeah,
in
he
us
had
doing
messaged
maybe a group thing. Maybe not this next week because we'll take it off, but maybe the week after that, like middle of December.
Dan
Um,
from Blackmates.
yeah, that sounds kind of fun. Those guys are kind of cool. And
Yeah,
if you want to reach out to Dav, I mean, does Dav still use the Coinigy platform? He was a big fan of that in the
yeah, he
past.
does.
Right. So
Still a fan.
anyway, there was a setup that he learned when he was a student at TRI, and it was we actually called it the DAV because it was such a good setup. I'm just trying to figure out how to display it here. Just kind of hoping I could show the OBV here on its own. Okay, well, anyway, if you had an M in OBV and volume indicators, you had an M in RSI and an M in Willy, that actually is a Davo sell signal. And, I think actually it was accurate. You can see the market is moving lower here. So, momentum here is definitely not on your side if you're a bull. If anything, you probably just want to cool your jets. If you're thinking about buying, well, Brian and his crazy reload zones. So I would just draw a fib off of that high. And then bring it back down against this low. And, it would be interesting to zoom in and see if there are any price gaps down in here. Because that's probably really good, probably lines nicely with things like reload zones.
Yeah,
Let's see. Where the hell is this tools thing? Where's
like
the
click
thing?
on it on the
Yeah. Maybe if I do that, then I'll go settings. Maybe that'll load. There we go. So if we go
78.6.
78.6, 61.8, 88.6. I do like the idea of 88.6 to
It's on the right
78.6.
side under number two.
Under
You're on the
number
right.
right side, under number two. There it is. Haha. Thank you. All right. So you can kind of see where I'd be interested in being a buyer. And as I said, what would be kind of fun, and actually I did this with the level 3 program just this past week, is try and identify your levels. You see Brian's favorite fib staring you in the face there. So that would definitely be a level I'd want to pay attention to. Then zoom in on your charts, and you can see I can draw a horizontal line right off of that price gap right there. And then also off another one right down in. No, actually, no, there isn't one there, is there? No, that actually looks good. All right, so it's just that one. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so now you can start seeing levels really form. Um, I really like this 2247 area. And then like I said, I did this with the level 3ers. You guys have the depth of the market here, don't you?
Yes, we do. You can actually right at the top of the screen there, it says candlestick chart and then depth chart.
Okay. Right. This might be a little harder to see. But
But
anyway,
then if you click over to that, show that side panel that you originally
yeah,
joined.
yeah, the
Yeah.
site. I've seen you on this the
Yes.
site before.
So click that right under lifetime
All
on the
right,
right side.
under
It's
lifetime. Where is that? That's right here.
right
This right
under there.
here, right?
Yeah, click that.
Yeah.
If you click that there, that arrow, does that pop anything out? No?
Looks like it wants to do something.
Yeah. Interesting. Let me collapse mine
Might
and
that might be it. Oh, there you go. All right, so what's super cool is if we scroll, if we scroll
you
down the order book and actually see if there are any notches in the order book that align with this level, and those are great places to put your orders. Unfortunately, this might be a function of Brave. I think
I'm
to
starting
tell
to
you.
think it is because I've been mirroring everything on my side on uh,
Chrome.
Google Chrome and I'm opening and closing fine. And but
Anyway,
yeah,
we've got a price chart. We can work with that. So the point here is 22.47, especially that price gap. I would really zoom in on that price gap. Go look on the DOM on the order book and just see if there are any notches in the order book of really, really small orders down there. Because those are the best place to throw your bid as you kind of what you want to see is you want to see like a motivated seller who slams into the order book and he sees where the big bids are and he wants to go and he'll hit the big bids. But if you put your order just slightly above where there's a notch, then once we hit that notch, are you going to stay? Once we hit the notch, and I guess we don't show the order book too deep. We only go down to
yeah.
26 here. Well, anyway, we'll deal with that later. But if you go down and look in the order book, oh, now you're back. Now it's just teasing me. Anyway, it's a fun exercise to do, trading with the order book and looking for notches on the order book. But order book obviously doesn't want to agree with me here
I think it's
today.
just got like a big delay on it.
Could
Well,
be. Let's not worry too
anything.
much about this.
Yeah, I was
Hey, you
gonna
want to
say move
just keep
on.
it simple? 22.47, Brian's favorite fib. Candle body highs and lows for trade location. That's probably the killer level right there. And then, of course, these little trap bears here. We got any dip down into that, kind of like you see how these trap bears here, they were all released on this event here. So any kind of dip down in and releasing these trap bears, I think, is a great buying opportunity. I don't think I could touch it here though. So
Yeah.
that's just how it is, folks. I'm sorry. Just
All
give you
right.
the straight goods.
So we got about 10 or so minutes left till 7 o'clock. So maybe we finish off on ELG that Drew was requesting. It is called, this is Multiverse X. And let's look for at it space to USD, you know, USD, and then see if
All right.
try one of your other windows. Yeah.
EGLD. Yeah.
Yes, slash USDT.
All
And on
right.
Binance. Yeah, let's take on play on Binance there.
Okay. So this one should be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the irony of all of this is that, in fact, actually, the gentleman I had lunch with today, he was doing these Coinigy show or not Coinigy, doing these weekly crypto shows with me when we first got it going at the very top of the market when Bitcoin was way up here.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but our show is going to be really easy when we get up into this area because people are going to say, "Oh, what's this?" And I can look at it and go, "Can't touch it." It's that simple.
Try again.
I wouldn't say that that's that bad here, but at the same time too, I mean, you look at that price chart, it's a pretty bull flag, don't get me wrong. Uh, I don't, bull flags are, I think by definition, they're great speculative trades. But they not very rarely are they like really good investment levels because it's sort of like you're coming in halfway through the actual trade. So, there's your bull flag. And the rule is the flag usually resolves about 2/3 the apex. So we're kind of coming up into that, right? If I project that over time, the apex is going to be like somewhere over here. So is that 2/3 of that distance? It looks like it. That's sort of like right in here, eh? Something like that.
Mhm.
And if these lows hold, then really it should be just boobity boo to boobity boo, something like that. So if I wanted to trade this, of course, what's the setup? And I don't know whether you've really been taught this or not, but what's the setup I like to use to trend continuation trade?
I'm not sure.
I call it the bot.
Uh,
Um,
we've touched on it.
yeah, so I want to see
There's
at
some
least a
notes here about it.
33%, but no more than a 66% correction. So there's 33, there's 66, so we're good to go there. I want to see three higher lows. So there's the low number one. There's low number two, which is a little bit higher. That's good.
Mhm.
What two-bar pattern is this called?
The railroad tracks.
Yeah. So that's actually a buy signal if we can go through that high there. I personally would like to see one more low, and then this creates like a really cute little W there. Um, but in essence, if this is actually a trend continuation setup, bot, all that, then I would expect something like that. And then we go, we want to try and enter at 25% of the range. And we'll move our stop to scratch at 50% of the anticipated range. And we'll start to lock in profits. I don't seem to have it. I guess I just had it off of this
The
old one.
33%, 25 and
Let's flip that around. And actually, for fun, sometimes these bull flag AB equals CDs can actually turn into what are called alt AB equals CDs. And they can go all the way from 127 all the way up to 1.618 of the range. So there are our levels. As I had said earlier, we don't have that third low yet, so I still think this is a little bit early. And what I would actually ideally like to see is I'd actually like to see the W come in on the other side of this
side of the
trend
trend.
line. That final third W. So notice here, like, yes, we did the railroad tracks, but we haven't even broken this downtrend line. It's a potential downtrend line. It's not confirmed, but nonetheless, it's still valid, and I think it's respected in the market. So what I would actually ideally like to see is this come up here, then come back down here, and ideally, if we could do something like that, that would be totally awesome.
Hmm.
So this consolidation is doing its thing. Um, I don't think I could actually do anything right now. But, there are guys that I used to work with that would just literally throw these levels up here and say, I'm going to get paid if I buy below this 25 level and I just hold on to 100%, right? That's going to be my profit window.
Hmm.
And that's going to be my loss window if I just walk away if we break this low here. So there's the really simple risk reward metric. So how often do I have to be right? If I just force myself, I'm going to come in and buy, and if I buy the railroad tracks, right, then that means that that's actually my dynamic now. So that's even a bigger. Let's see, just out of curiosity, what would this be? That would be the better part of 4-to-1 risk reward. So how often does this actually have to work for me just to be a scratch trader?
What? Sorry, my internet just said unstable for a second and it broke up. But 25% of the time.
Yeah, roughly, 1 in 4 trades. If I'm going to get paid $4 when I'm right and I'm going to lose $1 if I'm wrong, then technically I could place 4 bets. 3 of them I'll lose. The fourth one I win and I get $4 back at the end of all that, right?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people, well, at least back in my old trading prop days and stuff, not so much at TRI, but I know a lot of guys that would just simply say, "Look, that's a railroad check. So, this is a double bottom. I'll just take it and live with the results." But I do appreciate that new people to trading. It's if anything, it's probably in your best interest to have more structure and more sort of probabilities. Our level 1 instructor, he actually likes to say, you know what, I need to see some sort of indicator confirmation that this thing has actually turned up. Do you see any W's in the indicators at all? Oh, did I lose you?
I'm starting to have some issues with internet over here, Brian.
Uh, well, it is 7 o'clock, so maybe we'll wind up.
Sorry, it's like blanking out and says like chat disconnected. Please wait. I'm not
Can you guys on the YouTube page, can you hear what I'm saying? Can anybody over there on the YouTube page confirm that I'm still coming in? I think we're losing Joe. Adam says yes. Yes, what? Yes, we can't hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
working well.
YouTube is working well. All right, so Joe, it's just you. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to cut Joe out of this conversation. I don't know, maybe he's back now. Anyway, the point of the matter here is if you do want indicator confirmation to try and help you with your anxiety, maybe make it a little less stressful, there's no indicators here. Maybe there might be the beginnings of W's, right? You can sort of see they're trying to start, but we did just break down. So I don't, and you can see there's no real mad rush in buyers here. So if anything, I think probably that commentary that we're consolidating. Yes, this does look like a bull flag. Usually the apex is about 2/3, which I think is probably a little bit more. I would even say if you are interested in this one, just give it a bit more time. And if you get like a nice W or something like that, so you got 1, 2, 3 lows to work with. If you did get that kind of consolidation, then I think that might give the indicators enough time to actually start Wing out. And then that'll at least sort of alleviate your anxieties a bit more. Because remember, half of this game is just dealing with, can I actually take the trade when the setup comes in? And if you're sitting there going, I don't know whether this is going to work, and the last three of these didn't work, so and you're second guessing yourself, then you're already dead. You
Hmm.
have to be able to trade these setups and these things just unequivocally just go. When they come in, go. So if you need a little bit more anecdotal sort of support from things like indicators, then maybe let's just give this a bit more time to develop, get that third low. Let's see some W action here in the indicators themselves, and then you'll have a little bit more confidence in the trade setup. And really, that's assuming that we're going to do a trend continuation trade here. The issue is that I think we can see as plain as day where this thing was actually a buy. I mean, there's the W. It's staring you right in the face.
Oh yeah.
So, and then there's even a bigger W. This is like a W within a W. So, there is this W, especially on a clothesline. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there's also this really big one. So that's there. And then, interestingly enough, I mean, it's sloppier than slop, but you could technically say that's a W there. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a hell of a fight right in here. And this actually also kind of looks like one of our cups and handles here. See
Handle.
that?
Yeah.
So there's where you're supposed to be long. You coming in now here, like I said, you're kind of coming halfway through the trade. I definitely do not think that this is sort of like investment grade levels. This is trend continuation levels. And with the understanding that if you want to buy value and you want to buy on the cheap, well, we all know what to draw, right? Your reload zones. And if we throw up even like the venture cap reload zone because we're super cheap asses, let's go like that. And we'll get rid of all this stuff. And put on 88.6 and 78.6.
78.6.
Yeah, we'll just do that for simplicity purposes. Flip that around. Well, ironically enough, you can see that that's right back against the original bottom.
Yeah.
So that's your value window. You want to, if you're like, I'm a cheap ass like that Beamish, can you believe I paid 40 frickin' dollars for some really crappy fish and chips and a beer today? $40 for fish and frickin' chips. I tell you, didn't get any
Hopefully
value
it's
today.
tuna.
It was cod. It wasn't
Yeah, I
even tuna,
figured.
it was
I
cod.
figured.
Anyway, so here is your value trade window. Here is your trend continuation trade window.
You paid
Reload
one
zones,
G.
L Tangonator, shark setups, bot setups. So, what kind of investor are you? And really, I can't answer that. Some people like to trend continuation trade. I'm trading with the trend. I'm a trend follower. You've probably heard that expression before. I want to get in on a good idea. These guys are rocking it. I don't think the indicators there are supporting that trend continuation right now. They're all very bearish here, right? So, and where the hell are the buyers? If this thing's so great, where the frick are the buyers? So, I would actually be leaning to cheap ass Brian value trade idea setup here, not the trend continuation. But let's see. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Over the next week or two, if we get a nice third low come in here, nice W's on the indicator, some buyers actually show up, then you might actually have a nice little trend continuation trade. And what I would just simply say is if you did trade the trend continuation trade, you don't necessarily have to take all profits here. You could maybe just sprinkle some sell orders the whole way up here. And if this thing does decide to go ape shit and it's an alt ABC and it goes all the way up top here, well then great, you get some up top off as well. So,
There you
uh,
go.
all right, what do
Well,
you think? Was that a half decent summary of this thing?
I'd say it was.
All right. That is 7 o'clock. I'm actually pretty tired, so I think I probably
Yeah.
want to call
We'll
it a
wrap
day
we'll
here.
wrap her up here. Um, Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Be sure to check out both the Rational Investors and Coinigy's Black Friday events. So, got a lot of exciting deals going on there for all of you guys. And with Thanksgiving tomorrow, truly appreciate every one of you guys for joining us on the show every week. It's a lot of fun for us, and we hope you guys are getting a lot out of it as well. And I think I speak on everyone's behalf. Thank you, Brian, for your expertise and your knowledge and willingness to share um, all of your plethora of knowledge to all of us. I think goes without saying. We all appreciate it.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Hope I make a positive difference in this world,
I think
and
you are.
the small community we have. You guys feel like you're getting value for your time invested. So thank you for
Yes,
investing your time and your attention into what I have to offer.
much
And
appreciated.
wish me luck on the road with Liam tomorrow.
Yes,
There
sir.
is
Best
no
of luck.
Thanksgiving in Liam's life.
Well, thank you. Best of luck tomorrow. Everyone out there, please remember to like and comment on this video. Helps us with getting this out there. Share the video if you got knowledge out of it. Tell a
Yeah, we
friend.
only got 3 likes here, and you got 12 of you guys sitting here
Yeah,
watching it.
give us
I
give
would.
us a like there, and we'll take it. See you guys next time.
All
Take care.
right. Have a good night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we got it. We got to practice this together because
I was
I
gonna say
can't do these videos without my sign off. You know
that's
my
what I'm
sign
saying. I'm
off.
giving you take it away.
All right. Hugs and kisses, and bye for now.
All right.